Perfect. So recording started. So I'll quickly start the session with a quick introduction. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you very much for joining the session. And today's session would be on Silver Peak. Mostly I will be covering the live demo kind of scenario, and we'll show you the features that's available and how easy it's to set up, and especially kind of situation today we are in, and work from home, how efficient Silver Peak can be useful to make work from home quite possible by sharing a use case on that. So thank you everyone, and let's start with the session. So before I start, I just want to quickly introduce FVC. So FVC is a value-added distributor, and we have been our reach out in Middle East and Africa region. And quickly on the portfolio, FVC has various vendors, from unified collaboration to smart meeting rooms, unified communications, connected workplaces, and virtual meeting rooms for enterprise. Yeah, so we have all those vendors that you may be seeking for other portfolio. Please do not hesitate to contact. So this is from UC side as well as from network and security. These are the offerings that we have: advanced networking, performance management, network and application security, cloud and information security, and identity management. So anyone who wishes to further have more information on that, please do contact your respective sales personnels. Thank you. Now, also we offer professional services. We provide 24/7 support services, RMA service, health check. Also, we help in installations, deployment with our partners to the customer. So that's also as the extended hand we offer from FVC as a value-added distributor. So starting with today's demo, Silver Peak, solving business challenge with SD-WAN. So again, mentioned that current business needs has changed. People are transforming. Certain applications are on-premise. Most of the applications are moving towards cloud. And yes, you need to have such kind of transformation and the system which supports that flawless. So again, work from home situation where you can always use a Silver Peak from home, or even if you're a mobile user with a small appliance, and you can connect to from home or from mobile device using 4G or ADSL or broadband connection, and stay connected with Office with very effective way of optimizing the performance of applications, as well as using WAN optimization for heavy file transfer. So that's what we are going to see in today's demo. So this is one use case, and in fact, it's a success story. Also available if you wish to have a look for the complete, how they set up this office home or work from home situation, which is from trial card. Within just a few weeks, 2 weeks, and everyone was shifted work from home. So they got the ultra small device connected, as you can see, on the ADSL router. And if you also can extend to LTE, in fact, it has a multiple interface to connect. So you can have one ADSL router, another 4G LTE router can be connected. And with that, you can simply connect back to your data center and get your files. On top of that, Silver Peak will also be optimizing the traffic, which requires to go to the data center and which requires directly breakout from the internet to access your SaaS applications like Office 365 or Microsoft Teams, ensuring always there's performance. Always the performance is on the highest priority, and you achieve that. All right. So this is a current situation that we are in, and this is how Silver Peak would help. And also one good point to note is the Silver Peak has a lot of technology tie-ups. One of them is Microsoft. So that means it will always be performance oriented when it comes to your Microsoft Office 365 or Teams. And Silver Peak can actually recognize those as a deep packet inspection application and provide the application steering according to the application itself. It has 10,000 plus application recognition. Again, that's the unique feature of Silver Peak than other SD-WAN providers. It can steer your application traffic on its own, which is the true value of SD-WAN, automated branch office connectivity for Office 365. So let me quickly get into the system. So first, I would like to show you a small video, like how it is set up at home, how quickly it establishes the connection. Yeah. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
So that's how it's just connected physically in the network, and then it was provisioned. So as soon as you attach the device in the network, that's what happens. Then it discovers the appliance. Okay, so your orchestrator, this is a single
This
pane
is
of
the
glass.
live screen. Sorry to interrupt you, Darius, but
So now
for
I'm
the
going to the live
yeah,
screen. Sorry to
this is the
mention.
live screen.
Yeah. So this is now the live screen. So as you have seen in the video, that once the device was plugged in the network, the orchestrator, which is a single pane of glass to configure all your branch sites or head office sites or data center, all your appliances are visible as soon as the device gets attached in the network and via DHCP communicates with the Silver Peak portal, and you will receive indication appliance discover. As soon as you approve that, it starts the wizard where you just have to deploy, give the name, address. Yeah. So this is a live now. I will just show you how quickly it is easy to set up this device in the network. So I'll just put some location here. So everything is already there. Yeah, the IP, everything will be assigned from the network. So I'll just put some bandwidth here. Click next. 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 Now this is my tunnels that I would like to apply. So I'll just push default and then apply. Now it's pushing the configuration to the branch side or to the appliance. As soon as this is done, your device is in the network and tunnels would already started building up. So that device has already appeared and this is the one. Okay, so it will start showing the connectivity. Here on the dashboard, I'll go. So you can see the tunnels are active. So between the sites already as soon as I applied. So this is how easy and how fast the setup is. So as soon as the device goes in the network, you push the, you just run the wizard and then the tunnel comes up, the connectivity is established, and now you can start transferring your files, or you can start accessing your applications based on the application steering. Silver Peak will provide the performance as well as if it has to break out locally or it has to go to the head office site, that's gonna happen now. So just to talk about the application steering. Okay, so Silver Peak, you can steer the application and already 10,000 plus application recognition available. And that's the unique feature again, I would say. So here I can categorize my tunnels. These are actually the tunnels. So first of all, if you look at this dashboard or this particular screen, we call it as business intent overlay. Okay, if technically this would be called as your IPsec tunnel. Why business intent overlay? Because we are more focused on application performance and application steering. So we don't worry what underlay you are using, whether it's MPLS, whether ADSL or LTE. Our main focus is to steer your application accordingly and give you the best performance for your application and for your users, whether you are setting up from branch or you are doing work from home. So here, if you can see some categorized overlays. So I've just created one for Teams just to show you that it already has identified this application as Skype for Business. Okay, so Teams is identified as Skype for Business as an application. Okay, so I've just created one to show you in the demo that when we are transferring file from, let's say, home to data center or branch office to data center, at the same time, we can run Skype call, which will be directly breaking out on the internet. So for this traffic, I'm not going to backhaul to your head office because in this case, I'm going to require huge amount of bandwidth at your HO or data center. Okay, because there are 100, 200 users getting connected at the same time. So what Silver Peak intelligently does is it will break out application wise. So I want Teams to be break out locally rather than coming all the way to the data center and choking up the bandwidth. So this is what I'm doing. So I've choose my internet link, which I've named it as iNet1. This is my ADSL line. And then I'm breaking out locally straight away on the internet because Teams is a cloud application. So I don't want Teams application to be backhauled to data center or HO. And good part is it's just a click. Your policies are just clicked. So I want to achieve high quality for this application. And I want to ensure that the packet loss should not impact the performance. So Silver Peak has FAC or called as path conditioning feature, which is automatically on. As soon as I choose this link policy, it initiates path conditioning. That means if there is any packet loss or congestion issues, Silver Peak will auto recover it by using forward error correction. Yeah, so that's how easy it is. It's just click to initiate your policy. There is no configuration or CLI commands involved, unlike routers and firewalls. And on top of this, I can choose that this has to be breakout or this has to go to the data center. So as I mentioned, this is a Teams traffic and I would wish to break it out locally. And that's what I've just dragged and dropped. This is how easy it is. So I've just put local breakout from available policy to preferred policy. And I've choose my link on which it has to break out locally. Now, if I have a second part for backup connection like 4G, because Teams I would consider as very important application for my organization. So I would prefer to use LTE as a backup in case if my first link goes down. Again, it's a matter of just drag and drop. This is how easy it is to configure. So this I've already applied. Now, as a virtual network function, Silver Peak also offers WAN optimization, which I will be using for my bulk transfer. So from home, if I'm transferring heavy files from the data center, and I would do it a couple of times. Yeah, or many users on the same branch are accessing the same file. Now I would not like to waste the WAN bandwidth, and I would like to boost. So for my bulk application, okay, where FTP or if I'm doing safe transfer or DR2 DC replication using NetApp application, I would choose to have my boost enable only for that application. So what I'm trying to say is the good part that the way that you establish the connectivity is not based on the network and it's not complicated based on network. It's simply based on your application performance. Which application needs what level of connectivity, what level of performance and prioritization and bandwidth requirement. We are steering 100% based on application. And that's where the uniqueness comes in. So here, another overlay that I would like to show you is Oracle Cloud. For example, I have Oracle Cloud as an application, again, breaking out locally, but I don't want other YouTube or that traffic to be breaking out. So here I'm specifying related to application that only Oracle Cloud should be breakout for the internet, direct internet, so that you don't need to choke your data center bandwidth, or you don't need to invest heavy bandwidth because everyone is accessing internet through data center or HO. So that's how Silver Peak will also help you to save cost on bandwidth on top of WAN optimization. Yeah. So these are actually your VPN tunnels that you have actually configured. We call it as business intent overlays. All right. Now, as soon as we configure these policies for VPN, next thing is just go and apply to the respective devices. Okay. So we have already applied. As soon as you apply those overlays, the next thing happens is the connectivity establishes. So here you can see the tunnels. These are your actually IPsec tunnels. But what's the difference? The difference is it's not based on network. It's not based on IP. It's based on application. You can see critical apps, bulk apps, Teams, cloud apps. So each of these application between the sites establishing connectivity. And this is your actual VPN tunnels, which are up and running in no time, as we just saw. So I just fired up these devices in front of you. Yeah. And once the tunnels were pushed, okay, it started configuring your IPsec configuration, and tunnels were built up and running in no time. So next thing is to check the flows. Now, what I would do is, yeah.
Before we get into that, you want to open it for questions, anything until now? Because I think Rizwan Hussain has a question on bandwidth priority per user or per group.
Okay,
like
I will
finance gets priority for bandwidth to finance app, etc.
Sure. So I'll come to that point as I'll show you the prioritization.
Any other questions from anyone?
Okay, so these are tunnels. So now going to flows. Okay, so what I've done is just to show you some flows and different category of flows. Okay, this is, I've just set up a kind of demo server. Okay, so one site, which is BSRV, ECV site BSRV, this is your data center site, and SPVM, this consider your branch site or home site. Okay, and also I've just for testing, I've also fired up one instance in Azure. So Silver Peak can be fired up in Microsoft Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. Yeah. Now, so I'll go back to the data center site. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll show you a kind of file transfer. So this is my data center site, okay, which runs, let's say, FTP. Okay, now from here, I'll just go to the branch site. This is my branch site. So this particular system is representing branch. So what I would do is I would show you a file transfer. So first attempt I've already done, because just to save some time and show you the effects of optimization. So what I would do is I would just delete the file which I already has been pushed from data center to branch. Okay, so this file test, for an example, is almost like 1 gig. So I will delete this from my client site. Okay, and now going back to my FTP file transfer, I'll push this file. Sorry, it didn't got selected. So it started the file transfer. As it transfers from site A to site B, I will check the flows as well. So file transfer is on. I can see FTP session on the screen. I can also see if it is boosting. So you can already see the effects of boost. So what's the lower shadow blue color is basically what's being transferred, and the darker one is what's being transferred on the WAN. So you can actually see the effect of boost getting applied WAN optimization as a service. Now, this is traffic which is basically going from data center to the branch. Now, at the same time, I want to also establish a call. Okay, so go to the Sky for Business Teams, sorry, and let's say I would like to call, let me try to call one of my colleagues. So the difference here is this traffic is gonna basically steer directly, breaking out locally on the internet. Yeah, so if I go back to the orchestrator, so you can see that this Sky for Business, okay, or has been categorized as Teams. Okay, the application is Sky for Business, but if you look at the actual protocol, it's teams.microsoft.com it's using. All right, so this traffic is breaking out directly on the internet, while the other traffic is basically transferred from branch site or home office to the data center, or vice versa. So you can see the video call as well. And the transfer has already been completed. Now, 1 gig of file has just been transferred within few minutes, almost 2 or 3 minutes. It's already transferred from data center to branch. or your home user. That's how good or how efficient this is. So it has already saved the bandwidth that was required to transfer this 1 gig file. Okay, and imagine that 100 users are transferring this same file again and again over the WAN. Think about replication traffic using and choking your WAN. So basically you are adding extra cost for your WAN links. I'm simply using either ADSL, or I can club ADSL and LTE together, for application like bulk app. If I can load share by just one click, I can use MPLS plus ADSL or ADSL with LTE with just one click of link bonding policy. As soon as I put link bond, it will start load sharing on the link automatically. And also you can set the service level objectives on the link. That means what if the link is down? Anyone can switch over to the second link. But what if the link performance, the WAN link performance degrades in the matter of the link is experiencing heavy loss, heavy latency, or heavy jitter? For example, my voice video traffic is experiencing packet loss because of the jitter. So I can monitor it. So I can say if the jitter value exceeds 120 milliseconds, please switch to the next available link. Okay, that means the link in use is not optimally performing. And that's how Silver Peak will do on its own. So the question about prioritizing. So here I have already created the prioritization. Okay, so my real-time traffic, okay, will be having you can assign bandwidth percentage. So whenever there is a real-time traffic moving in from the device or out from the device, dedicate 25% of bandwidth. Critical apps, another 25%. So this is your available WAN bandwidth, 50 MB. Okay. Out of 50 MB, whenever it has real-time traffic, allocate 25 MB. So it's based on applications, okay, which again, you can identify those applications in your overlays, which I just showed you, okay. And based on those application or overlays that has been classified, you can provide the quality of service. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. You just go to that particular device or all of them, and you just click on critical app, for example, or bulk app for an example. Okay, and just choose what's your WAN bandwidth and what minimum bandwidth you want to assign. 25% of 50,000, that is 50 MB. You can assign minimum, maximum, whatever you want. Okay, so that's the answer to the question. On top of that, Silver Peak also offers quality of service policies. Yeah. Now everyone knows routes. I don't want to go in detail or technical here. Routes are, it's just the way of advertising your network to make it reachable. Now, what I want to show you the difference here is here the routes are basically for the SaaS application. Okay, Silver Peak can identify which of the node is the closest to that particular SaaS application. So if I fire up multiple instances in my cloud like Azure or AWS or Google, each of this would in specific region would identify which has the closest distance to the SaaS application, and it will advertise to other location that if you want to reach to Teams, I have the better path, which is just one hop away, or it has lowest latency. So instead of going all the way again to branch or data center, you can use those best shortest path to reach that particular application. So this is what I wanted to show you on the routes, because otherwise routes are just normal. It's just network based. But here the difference is I'm specifying typically for this scenario where people are mostly using Teams from home to make their calls. I've advertised Skype, and whoever has the closest round trip time or the lowest delay to reach that particular SaaS application would basically advertise so that other branches can use that rather than going on the longer path. Otherwise, other routing protocols like BGP or OSPF, it's all supported as VNF function, and you can define static default routes. Okay, so it has routing functionality with application, again, recognition on SaaS applications, plus quality of service. Yeah, based again on your business intent overlay. So everything is focused on your application steering, automated, dynamic, and very easy to set up and very easy to monitor. Everything is monitored on single pane of glass. I had never gone to any individual device to configure it. Everything will be controlled from Unity Orchestrator. Okay, so this becomes your main control plane. And then this is your chassis, your fabric, which forwards the traffic. Okay, based on the configuration that you do on the Unity Orchestrator. So you don't really need a technical person on site, on the branch site or at home to set up the box. Box gets connected. As soon as it gets connected in the network, you push the policy and that's it, you're good to go. And on top of that, as I just showed you in the flows, that once you start accessing the traffic, it will identify which category, which application goes in which tunnel or which business intent overlay, and it will use its prioritization and quality of service for that overlay, whether local breakout directly to the internet or it has to go to branch site, and accordingly it will steer on its own. So it is 100% automated. Now, this is just, I want to show you that what it has achieved until now. So you can see the transfer is almost done for 7 days continuously. And it is with FTP, 86% of WAN bandwidth has been saved. That means you are actually today, you would have actually extended your bandwidth by paying additional money to enhance those 24 giga transfer over the WAN. With Silver Peak, I have actually saved that much bandwidth and that much money. So I'm just transferring, as I mentioned, what going on the WAN is very low, and what's been received on the LAN is almost 24 gig has been transferred for past 7 days. And if I want to show it in a application pie chart, here it shows actually the monetary value that has been, or the bandwidth that has been saved within 4 hours time or within 1 hour time, what you have saved. And up to 7 days, or you can create your custom report and show it to your management that yes, I have saved that much of WAN bandwidth, and each application, how much consumption it has happened. So here you get application to application utilization report for all the devices. So that's how effective it is. Okay. So I hope I did answer the question for the gentleman who asked about the prioritization.
Yes, we do have one more question from Mr. Rizwan Hussain regarding the sizing, right? So his question is it sized according to the number of employees, or if like, or 2 devices at the head office and we need 1,000 devices for 1,000 employees?
Yeah, so sizing is based on, so first of all, it is available as appliance and as virtual machine. Okay, so appliance goes from the ultra small, which can support up to 100 Mbps. So 100 Mbps could be one link 25 MB, another link 10 MB. So total bandwidth up to 100 Mbps. So it starts with ultra small, which is just the palm size, which is fit for home use. And it can go up to the largest data center, which can support up to 2 gigabit of WAN bandwidth. Okay. So it's always based on bandwidth. And additionally, on top of that, as I showed you, the WAN optimization, the another part of the license which goes with bandwidth is the boost license. So how much traffic that you want to accelerate. And so when I say boost, it does caching, memory caching, and TCP acceleration. So memory caching, I just showed you a live flow where I've transferred a 1 giga file, yeah, and it has able to save a lot of bandwidth because the same file was already being transferred. Okay, so if you add additional boost, you are going to save a lot of WAN bandwidth. So you have ultra small, then extra small, which goes up to 200 MB, small up to 1 gig, and then medium, large, and extra large. These are the available appliances. Each appliance goes in every branch that you would like to set up. So for small branch, you can go with ultra small or extra small based on the bandwidth requirement for now and future. Or if you have provision of a virtual machine, you can also fire up as a virtual instance. Just for an example, your SP Azure, this one I've actually also fired up on Azure Cloud. So if you have cloud subscription like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, you can also fire up Silver Peak appliance over there as a virtual image, and it's available directly as your application there as a apps within the app store of that cloud. Further, we can also get in touch with you and understand your requirement.
There is one more question. Do we support virtual routing and forwarding?
So virtual routing and forwarding. So as a routing, as I mentioned, we support itself. It supports the VNF function. It has BGP and OSPF. Okay. So if you are talking about virtual routing, means if you are talking about multi-tenant scenario, in this situation, what happens is every enterprise, okay, or sub-enterprise would have its own orchestrator version, okay, or its own orchestrator instance. So for example, FVC has a lot of sub domains like FVC Middle East, FVC Asia Pac, FVC Americas. So each of this can be act as a tenant. So FVC MENA region or EMEA region is one tenant having its own orchestrator and own appliances. Then you have another orchestrator called as FVC Americas, and it has its own orchestration. So this is how it will virtualize each instances. So between the instances, you can reach out through BGP protocol. So that's how it supports virtual routing function. So there will be one common orchestrator called as a service provider. For example, you as a main service, FVC as a main service provider. And then within FVC, you can break it out as FVC Americas, FVC Asia Pac, FVC MENA, EMEA, so on and so forth. And that's how it breaks it into virtual function.
Darius, one more question. Can you elaborate about Boost? How does it do how does it function? What is the sizing for Boost? And does it have accelerate applications as it accelerates the TCP?
Okay, so as I mentioned that Boost is basically comes in chunk of 100 Mbps. Okay, so typically you find out what's the total bandwidth that you have for your organization, and basically the bulk transfer, okay, like I showed FTP or even CIFS, or if you are doing replication between DC to DR like NetApp, okay, those are all success stories with NetApp we already have. Now in this case, you find out the amount of bandwidth and you can consider like 40% of that as a boost bandwidth, and you can request to get that much amount of boost bandwidth. Okay, so boost bandwidth is basically what is additional to your available bandwidth as how much reduction and how much bandwidth it could have saved. Otherwise, you could have gone by paying more money and to increase the bandwidth. So instead of paying more money and increasing the bandwidth, you're with boost with the same bandwidth, you can transfer more. Okay, so boost is basically, I will just show you how it is allocated. Boost is allocated, the company, the chassis wise. Okay, so all the branch sites that you have, okay, not every branch would need same amount of boost. Some branch have lower connection, and you would just like to boost out of 100, you can distribute to that branch 10 Mbps. So here what I've done is I've just distributed boost your 50 MB on this particular site, and another site another 50 or 40 MB. So you can distribute out of 100 across your fabric or across your Silver Peak appliances or branches. Okay. Anytime you need extra boost, it's a subscription based license. You can always add on anytime that you would like to increase the boost in the chunks of, again, in the chunks of 100 Mbps. And you can distribute that chunk across your site. You can, as I mentioned, you can put 10 MB in branch A, 20 MB in branch B, 30 MB in branch C based on the requirement. So that's how it is. So it will show you how much boost you have and how much has been distributed.
Darius, can you elaborate about the security features of this device?
Perfect. So security wise, okay. First of all, Silver Peak supports stateful firewall as a, again, as a VNF function. So, or a security function, and it supports micro-segmentation also. You can differentiate or you can add untrust or trust or DMZ zone, just like any other firewall, and create your firewall policies. Sorry. So as just like any other firewall policy that you define, you have firewall zones, and then you create the firewall's policy from zone A to zone B. That's one thing. Second thing, all our tunnels that are built, okay, all of them supports IPsec protocol, which is a standard protocol, and it has AES 256-bit encryption, okay? And finally, those customer like banks or financial organization, which requires to reduce the cost plus to have the security as well for them, okay? The deployment mode that it supports is completely secure mode, or called as hardened mode. I will just show you. So you can see the firewall mode. Now, as soon as I put it as hardened mode, okay, this will make sure that no traffic apart from encrypted traffic will be allowed. So if you are thinking about placing a Silver Peak appliance at ATM, okay, with just ADSL or LTE, which is very insecure connection, what you can do is you can completely harden this box. Okay, this will only allow IPsec or encrypted traffic between ATM site and the HO site or DC site. Okay, no other traffic will be permitted. Everything is dropped. Okay, so that's another way of hardening or securing your device. And finally, Silver Peak also has technology tie-up. For example, with Zscaler, okay, as a cloud security for web application or web security. So you can create a tunnel between Silver Peak and Zscaler or Palo Alto or Checkpoint. These are all technology tie-ups, which you can integrate when especially you are breaking out locally and you want to ensure security on top of that. So you can always create a tunnel with the vendors, which provides you next generation capabilities like DDoS protection, web application protection, UTM functions like IPS, intrusion prevention system, or an AV, antivirus system. Okay, so Silver Peak already has those technology tie-ups, okay, which will enhance the security of the device. So again, to sum it up, it has firewall capabilities, stateful packet inspection, just like any other firewall. You can create zones and create policies accordingly. You can harden the box completely that it only allows only the secure traffic or encrypted traffic is allowed, and it supports encryption, standard encryption algorithm such as AES 256-bit, which makes the box very secure.
Darius, going back to Boost, this is this is creating some kind of questions. But is it layer 7 aware? Can you assign boost per application?
Yes. So as I just showed you, I have assigned boost under my overlay called as bulk app. Okay. So here I can choose by, for example, Dropbox. Now, if you are, let's say, I have Azure connection and my branch side, okay, where I'm accessing Dropbox. So from, let's say, Azure site is the lowest site to reach the Dropbox. Okay, now, or you can consider any site which is the head office where you start your Dropbox, and then user will start transferring file. As soon as the Dropbox is observed, you can enable boost. Boost is enabled. So as soon as it's seen that this file is being transferred from HO to branch, okay, the second file transfer, as you have enabled boost for that particular application, okay, it will start boosting the traffic or optimizing that for that particular application. So here also I've specified, yeah, currently in my rule I've set up for anything from branch to HO subnet. But if I want to be very specific, I just want, okay, FTP, okay, to be boosted, I would choose FTP in this list, okay, and then I enable boost. So yes, it is application aware. Okay,
Darius, is it, this acceleration is happening at the layer 7 level or just the transport level?
So when you say transport layer, so transport is TCP acceleration. So there are two things that happens. One is the TCP acceleration. Okay, now TCP acceleration is basically ensuring that you can push more bandwidth, more data into the bandwidth, while not bringing the connectivity or the what you call it as window sizing down. This will, if the window size degrades, then your WAN performance, even if you have more bandwidth, you cannot transfer more data. So TCP acceleration will establish your connectivity so that it becomes less jittery, less delay sensitive, and allows to transfer more traffic across the WAN. And the second is the application, for example, your file transfer or DC to DR application. In this way, it identifies those applications and it will provide you memory caching. So for any bulk transfer, it will provide you memory cache function. And for other applications where memory cache is not applicable, in that case, you will always receive TCP acceleration. Okay, that is applied for any application which is TCP based, whereas a memory caching will be applied for heavy bulk file transfers. Okay.
Yep. The status of Silver Peak in Gartner.
Yes. So obviously, first thing that I would start off with is the Silver Peak in Gartner has always been leader in SD-WAN as far as it's been identified from that particular year till date. It is under Gartner leader and it has always been there. In fact, the only two vendors today, one is Silver Peak and VeloCloud. In the last year, it was Cisco, but in fact, this year Cisco has been moved out from the Gartner leader because it could not provide the same function, or the complexity was high and stability of the SD-WAN functionality was not great. So this year, last year, Silver Peak always has been identified as a Gartner leader.
Richie, do you want to pitch in?
Yeah, hi guys. Hello, it's Richie Fryer from Silver Peak. I'm the channel SE, so the first sort of technical point of contact for the partners out there. Firstly, I would like to give a real thanks to Darius this morning. I know I pronounce his name wrong every single time, but I think he's done a fabulous job of the presentation. So really, really a big thank you from me there. And thanks, FVC generally for hosting. That's 2 webinars they've done in a short space of time. We've had a great turnout, and that's really, really great. Thank you, guys. Just pick up on a couple of bits. Been a lot of talk of WAN optimization. I think Dad's done a really good job of explaining it technically. I just wanted to add one other thought into there. We talked about saving on bandwidth, the sort of financial return we could get there. But I just want to give for consideration so guys, when we talk, all of this really is technologically wise has been initiated by the cloud, right? The drive to the cloud. And when we think about our IaaS services, Azure and AWS, we pay for those services, or we pay for them up front, but we also pay for the data that egresses, the data as it comes out of those platforms, right? So when you consider, if you could get a 95% reduction, for instance, on a huge file transfers out of those platforms, then there's a real cost benefit there. Okay, that could be a real saving. Imagine having to replicate, you've had a problem in your data center, and you've got so many things going wrong, and on top of that you need to replicate the data back out of the cloud, and you're going to face this huge bill if you've got to take terabytes back out. Well, our boost can really, really alleviate that concern for you, and would easily pay for itself. There was a question about VRF, and does a really good job with that. So, but I just want, if we're talking about VRF in terms of overlapping IP addresses, that sort of concern, then we at this moment in time we address the overlapping IP concern with NAT functionality. But we are in beta stage of full VRF segregation of routing tables. Because I know that was a question from someone. Other than that, no, I think I say you did a really, really good job. So, are there any other questions for me whilst I'm here?
Richie.
Yes.
Yeah. So for our attendees, can you give some insights about how we differentiate from competition? Maybe very few pointers, not in depth.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the main one would be the one we've just touched on. The last thing that Darius said. We talked about the Gartner Magic Quadrant. If we're talking to people. Look, guys, there's 70-odd SD-WAN vendors out there, and each one's going to say that they're the best in the business and they've got this functionality or whatever, right? Gartner's done the hard work for you there, really. It's singled out 2 vendors that you should be talking to who are the leaders, right? And then what differentiates us in that part is, the most obvious one, really. There's 2 main things I'll talk about. Number one is user experience, right? And that's, to me, the most important thing. Features and functionality is all great, but here's the most important thing, guys. What's the experience like for that user when he comes in the morning and accesses his applications that are particularly those that are based in the cloud or still in the data center or whatever, right? And particularly as we move forward and perhaps not using MPLS anymore, now we want to start to use internet links, but we don't necessarily get the guarantees with those internet links. Our path conditioning technology that was just mentioned earlier with the forward error correction, right? It's by far the best in the business. Let me give you an example. If you go to if you just Google Miacom Silver Peak, right, you'll see a report that was done there on the effect that we could have on a voice call, for instance. So if you were to put a MOS score against a voice call and then introduce packet loss, right, with no Silver Peak technology in place, you will find that at about 1%, that voice call will start a MOS score of about 3.5 to 3, i.e. it's going to start, the user is going to start to notice issues, and that's at a little more than 1% packet loss. With one link, you turn on that Silver Peak forward error correction path conditioning, you'll be going up to about 6% packet loss before that user starts to experience any degradation, right? And here's the thing, guys, you introduce 2 links, which is where the market's going, right? Have 2 links to that site, and you'll be going 15 to 20% packet loss on both links and still have a usable business call. And I think that's where we're head and shoulders in the business, certainly when we go head to head with the competition. That's where we are, right? And the other thing is, it's WAN optimization. We've talked about it a lot here. It's embedded in the product. full WAN optimization, right? You'll see vendors play about with the words, we've got optimization. No, this is full WAN optimization. There's only really 2 people in the whole business that do that, okay? And we're the only ones that integrate it into the product, okay? Even in our major competitor in WAN optimization has not, it's a separate product. With us, it's integrated. As Darius says, it's you buy it in chunks, you can allocate it to your sites as you see fit. So I would say, you know, there's lots of features and the things we can talk about, but I would say that's the main thing for me. User experience and that WAN op piece for you as well.
Shibi, you had a question. Do you want to?
Yeah, regarding that WAN bounding, I think I know that you can bound the 2 link in that on the same device. Yeah, I won't know that if once link is down, automatically second thing link will take care of the take care of the link load balancing.
Yeah. So actually, Darius, do you want to? I don't know whether you want to present that screen again on the business intent overlay, so we can, I guess we can see what we're looking at. Yeah. So when we select 2 links as primary links, okay, we're going to use both of those links. You're paying for both of those links, so you use them both, okay, simultaneously. And on a packet by packet basis, we will assess the performance of those links. Now, depending on the bonding policy that you chose, you'll remember those 4 boxes along the bottom of the business intent overlay, we may treat those links differently. So let me give you an example. For voice, right, real time, what we'll probably do is choose high availability. And what that means is I've got the 2 links. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my data, my actual voice data, down the best performing link. Okay, so that's the one on the left-hand side, the big box. We could highlight that for us, the high availability for us, please, Darius. On the far left. Yeah, the first one, yeah. So if you select this one here, right, what it's going to do, you can actually read the instructions on it, right? It's going to select the best quality path for the data. And then on the next best performing path, it's going to send our error correction, guys. And it's going to do it at 1 packet for every data packet, an error correction packet for every data packet. That's why it says bandwidth efficiency of 50%. And what that means is, okay, if you lose a packet, we can immediately replace it with one of our forward error correction packets. But here's the best bit. That sounds like packet duplication. It isn't. Our forward error correction packets, they work more like RAID, right? RAID storage. So, you know, if you send data packet 2 and forward error correction packet 2, forward error correction packet 1 and 3 will contain data about 2. What does that mean? Let me summarize. We can lose packet 2. We could lose forward error correction packet 2 and still build that packet from forward error correction 1 and 3. And that's what gives us those amazing stats, right? Of being able to do 15 to 20% packet loss on both links and still give you a business quality call. Now, Darius, if you press high throughput, which is number 3, we can see that the arrow actually in the primary has changed, right? So on this one, this is slightly different. What we're going to, this is more for our bulk apps, okay? We're going to, instead of just choosing the best path, we're going to intelligently load balance that traffic, right, between both links, right? And actually, because this is now more bulky traffic, we're going to, instead of sending an error correction packet for every packet, we're going to vary that ratio intelligently between 1 in 5 and 1 in 20. So you're probably going to average about 1 forward error correction packet for every sort of probably 15 actual packets. And although that's a bit of an overhead, here's the thing, guys, you will almost certainly eradicate TCP retransmissions. Okay, and so that will pay for your FEC packets, your forward error correction packets.
Okay. In IE availability, assume that my 1 link is down. Okay. For maybe the certain minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, the links, maybe some other reason the link down. It's come back and after 5 minutes. What will happen?
So it'll come back online. Obviously, it will come back online. It will need to I couldn't tell you what that figure is. It will need to maintain a bit of stability. We wouldn't immediately wait for it to come back up and then throw data down. We'll send some packets down and make sure it's stable, and then we will continue to use it. We'll bring it back online automatically and start to use that link Okay, and here's another advantage, right? As soon as a link degrades, we don't take it out of service, okay, like some technology, because it might still be able to carry some traffic. So what we'll do is we'll just intelligently put down the amount of traffic that it can take and use so that it's still a benefit to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no downtime and that the link will still up even if I lose one connection?
Correct, yes. Because we're doing certainly on the SD-WAN fabric, we're making these decisions on a packet by packet basis, right? So the moment a link degrades so heavily it's no use or it's gone down, we'll just continue using the other one. You won't notice. We've got lots and lots of customer stories whereby they didn't realize links had gone down. Okay, the only people that know are the network team if they've been monitoring it, or they get contacted by the telco. And I really think that's a massive differentiator for us within the marketplace.
Okay, assume that the link is went down, it's come back within 5 minutes. All the link, the Silver Peak make sure there is no drop on the latency on those link. It should automatically load the traffic.
Yeah, as soon as it comes back, it doesn't matter. As soon as it comes back online, it'll be quickly assessed for serviceability, and then we'll start to use it again.
Kalyan.
Yep.
When we done those things, we faced the problem, right? Did they know that?
Yeah, it is told to them. Yes, we will discuss about this once the call is done. Because as you know, that was a failure of we had this units used for a long time. So yeah.
But he's saying that it will come back immediately, it will work immediately and resume the job, resume the link. That. It's fine.
There is.
Okay.
Yeah,
This device capable to insert the LTE in the LTE SIM card directly, or the LTE USB modem kind of things.
Not directly.
Yeah. Sorry, you carry on, Colin. I'll stay out of it for a minute.
As I said, the LTE, that would be basically LTE router will connect using the Ethernet on the Ethernet interface of the Silver Peak.
There is no option to directly connect to the LTE USB dongle, something like that, instead of Ethernet port.
Not directly, because as mentioned, Silver Peak, the main focus that we are building up is SD-WAN, because then building up LTE router would be another thing to do.
I'm not saying the router. I'm just asking that I have a router which is a USB dongle. I can directly connect and get the internet through the USB dongle. That is my question.
Not the dongle.
Yeah, you need a WAN. Yeah, WAN connector.
Okay. Yeah. That means the USB dongle I can connect that. I have to put the RJ45 only, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. So our boxes do often have USB ports on them, but at this point in time, the only use for them actually is the ability to load files on, for instance, for a DHCP server or something like that. We're not able to connect anything via USB. I'm not aware of plans to do that at this point in time either. Some people have gone down this road, I think, with a white, using a white box and then using our virtual images on those instead, if that was an absolute requirement.
Mr. Faraj, any question from your side? You have heavily tested our equipment.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I have tested the equipment. No, it's working fine, Kalyan. Everything is working fine. We tested one device connected in Egypt in one of our stores, and it's connecting us to Azure Cloud. So everything is working fine till now. The performance also is very good.
Thank you very much for your.
Thank you. We have a question. Can we replace the ISP router by the Silver Peak SD-WAN as it supports L3 routing?
Yes. Yes, we can keep the device as an edge CPE device. First thing is if you want to plug in directly MPLS and run eBGP, that is perfectly fine as CPE. Second, if you would just like to connect ADSL or broadband with PPPoE, you can do that as well. So it can replace your edge router, and again, falls back to saving money on that part. So,
any more questions? We're at the end of the reserved slot.
So finally,
type it in the chat window, or you can talk here. Your mic's unmute and you can talk.
So, yeah, I mean, if you still have any concerns, you can get in touch with me directly or through the sales representative. If you want to do POCs, please get in touch with us. My main, sorry.
Guys, my name is Ali Faisal. I just have one question about this recording. Will you be sharing this recording with us?
Yes, Mr. Ali. Just leave your email address in the chat window. Our marketing team will send it to you as a recording. Okay. The link will be sent to you.
I was seeing people are sharing their email addresses, but isn't it already available with you? That's how I got invited.
No, we have the database. So, your first name or last name would not really help us identify the exact email address, right? So if you can just send it to us, because there may be many Alis or,
Right. Sure, I will. Okay.
Sure.
Hi, Kalyan, it's Kiara. Hi, everybody. Just to clarify, we do have a lot of details of a lot of you on this call. But what is also happening is many of you have sent it to your colleagues or something, and we don't have their details. So if you just check the chat window, I have outlined a few names for which we specifically need email IDs. Mr. Sadiq Barudi, Mr. Kamal, Mr. Dilip Paryani, Mr. Muhammad Usman, Mr. FK, Mr. MM, Mr. Salim, and Mr. Iosif. So if you could send your email IDs, and any which ways, like Mr. Kalyan said, please do drop your email IDs, even if we have them, just to make sure that you're going to get the details of the webinar, the presentation and the recording. Thank you.
Any questions? Last few minutes, 2 minutes, let's say, and 20 seconds. Any questions to the panel? You have people from Silver Peak. We have existing users who have tested this equipment and deployed it. And we have the pre-sales with the live lab.
Not a question, really. This is Christian Turgut from Silver Peak Systems. I just want to extend a thanks to FVC for hosting this really brilliant session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A question coming up.
One more question. Do you have local direct support?
Richie, for you?
Just one sec. Should I stop recording for now?
You can go ahead, put the questions. Let the questions be recorded. Maybe they'll use it for reference too. Yeah. No problem. Richie, you there?
Yeah, sorry. So that was about the support, as in support for deployment point of view, or support in life. I'll answer them both. I mean, support for your deployments, etc. Go through the guys at FVC. We have a full follow the sun support program in place. So it's 24/7 with a very, very strict SLA. I like to think, because we're a relatively small company compared with, some of the really big guys out there, the Ciscos of the world, that, if you have to speak to our support guys, you'll get a really nice sort of personalized service. And generally people speak quite highly of our support. So yeah, no problems with support, no matter where you are, what time of day.
That means FVC is a local support connect for you, right?
Sorry, could you repeat?
That means FE is a friend ending for you in behalf of you, right? Any support we need to approach FVC or directly to the Silver Peak?
So yeah, so any support with deployments or wives or whatever, then that would be FVC can sort you that. But if you wish to, depends. Yeah, if the support direct, if the in-life support, yes, there is a direct support contact number via the portal or email direct to Silver Peak.
This is after deployment. If you want to reach you, so directly how we can.
For
deployment, do you have any toll-free number to reach you on those?
So deployments, right? So deployments are done. We don't really have a deployment service.
Richie, post-deployment.
No. I'm not asking deployment. After deployment, post-deployment.
Post-deployment.
All right, post-deployment. Yeah. So there is post-deployment. Then we have that's that support process.
So yes, you can contact. As I mentioned, that we as FVC have our support center, which will take your, comments and work on initially frontlining the troubles, whether we do it remotely or come on site based on the SLA. And then we will do the communication part with Silver Peak to resolve that issue in a continuous process. So as I mentioned that FVC, we offer professional services to our partners and customers.
No, FVC, okay, fine. We have support subscription with the Silver Peak. The support already is there, and that I need to avail support service from FVC, that is included in that.
So that will be bundled up as complete package to you.
That means you will charge us separately, right?
Yeah. So based on the SLA, we will provide you as we will be front-ending all your issues, communicating, taking with Silver Peak and resolving them. If there is a need to go to Silver Peak, otherwise we will do it
support
without.
Action that the customer avail the customer support service from the subscription support from the Silver Peak. Okay, then why I won't approach? I can directly approach the Silver Peak, right?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, that we provide.
I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah. We provide value-added service. So if there is some issues where you need to have on-site intervention, and you need to have someone on site, and that's where we get into there, your site and do some physical testing, or if some high level of troubleshooting required, we are available there, and then we take it up with Silver Peak in a continuous manner so that it basically eases out customer, from basically keeping constant connection, and we take this from our side.
Any other questions?
Yes, fine, no problem.
There was another question. Someone was in the line. Anyone else? Okay, we'll just wind this up. Richie, can you just, as a closing statement, can you tell them about the certifications that they can do? Because few questions have come on how do I enable my pre-sales and.
Yeah, sure thing, guys. So I think one of the real beauties of Silver Peak is that we really want to enable our partners, really get them all trained and make it easy for you to do so. So look, this is a technical audience. Obviously, there's sales programs as well, but from a technical point of view, there's three main ways of doing training, right? You can use our, if you just Google Silver Peak training, it'll take you straight to the training portal. You can sign up there and you can do pretty much all of the courses online on our portal in your own time. The other two ways is for the two main technical exams. The courses run roughly 2 days each. So you have the SPSP, the Silver Peak Professional, and the SPSX, the Silver Peak Expert. So from nothing to expert takes about 4 days of training. If you do that in a classroom, you can either remote into classrooms. Okay, we'll run classroom sessions with a live instructor for remote attendees via webinar. But also, generally, we run classrooms as well live for people to attend. They're more European-based, but and the truth is, at the moment, with COVID-19 coronavirus, that's all pretty much off. So what was 3 options at the moment is pretty much 2, and that is go onto our training portal and do those in your own time, or also on the training profile, you'll see on the portal, it will tell you instructor-led classes, and there you will see there's lots of remote sessions. There's generally at least 1 or 2 a month that you can join. There is no cost other than your time for this. Okay, we will not charge you for these courses. I'll tell you what, guys, they're amazing courses as well, right? Each one of those 2 days has got about 10 labs, so there's a bit of slide deck work, obviously, but you know, lots and lots of lab work as well. It's probably about 50-50 between doing your own labs and listening to the instructor take you through the technology.
Right, so we have come to the end of the session. Our marketing team will get back to you with the webinar recording. And if you have any questions, you can come back to us. The email addresses also would be mentioned, as well as the invitation also had the email addresses for you to come back to us. Just a quick snapshot of where we stand in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the previous question that was sent. Darius, go ahead and we can close this.
Yeah, so just to sum it up, the last note on the Magic Quadrant 2019, as I mentioned, Silver Peak has always stood in the Magic Quadrant all the time. And this is a comparison between 2018 and 2019. So you can see 3 leaders in 2018, including Cisco, whereas in 2019, Silver Peak and VMware only. So Silver Peak has always been a leader in a Magic Quadrant.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Darius, it's been 3 years in a row, yeah? So if I even take 2017 also, I think they've been in the Magic Quadrant. And I think from our perspective, if we look at it, the Gartner Magic Quadrant happens in Q4. So at least from our perspective, when we go back to our customers, we can always tell them that, okay, we have only 2 companies who are on the quadrant. So that's one of the things which we always see that the customer is always looking for.
Perfect. Yes. So yes, as mentioned,
Mr. Parag is Managing Director of FVC. Thanks, Parag, for joining us, and I hope the session was very successful with the questions that came out. Anything else? Please come back to us. Thanks. We have extended our timeline, but I think it was quite interesting. That's why.
Yeah, just on a final note, thanks. I'm just part of the team. But what we've seen is a big traction of a lot of organizations today working remotely. And we've seen a big traction where, you know, the number of calls now, especially which is happening either on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and people working remotely is happening. And I think where you and me can do is really bring that value proposition to your customer in terms of bringing a really good offering from Silver Peak in terms of managing and if using his remote working much more efficiently.
Perfect. Thank you all. Thanks for attending the session. The recording would be sent to you soon. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye. You too. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Can you carry on?
Thanks, all.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope it was informative. So you may contact anytime if you have any more further questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Silver Peak team. Thank you, the FVC team. Thank you, Kiara. And Chanchal.
Thanks, Parag. Thank you.